Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 spoilers. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Kane tells Jack his real intentions. Daniel's assistance on The Young and the Restless was much appreciated by Tessa. Jill was questioned by Victor and Nikki about Kane. According to Jill, she was aware of Kane's flaws. When Jill called them that, Victor sneered at them. Everyone has their blind spots, she lashed back. That Victor believed he could convince her to reconsider Kane intrigued Jill. Victor asked Jill if she was aware of the threat Kane poses. According to Jill, Nikki gave him a quick lesson. Kane, according to Victor, was going after everyone Jill knew. According to Jill, she also wouldn't want anything to happen to Victor. Victor felt moved. Kane has retracted planned attacks. According to Jill, you are free to leave your bunkers. A conflict won't break out, Jill declared. Victor was accused by Jill of turning everything into a transaction. It is, Victor said. Nikki implied that either Kane was lying to Jill or Jill was lying to her and Victor. According to Nikki, the true tale of Kane's empire building was not a pleasant one. According to Jill, Colin stole money from legal land transactions, which Kane then used to build a fortune. Victor claimed that Colin's only motivation was avarice. Jill snapped out at Victor. Yeah, well, you would be the man to know. We do know, actually, Nikki retorted. She said that the de Leon family had been duped out of Kane's chateau. Nikki responded empathetically. We don't get any pleasure out of telling you this, Jill. Jill said, I'm not sure. Victor answered, I think Victor might. Victor acknowledged that the reality was a difficult thing to accept. Jill claimed that she would be extremely saddened if she believed them. She went on to say that she saw Colin's sincere remorse while he was near death. That might have been an act, Victor remarked. Victor declared that he had the letter from Madame de Leon. She left a Lord Jeremy Edgerton in it. Colin used that as one of his many nicknames. Victor offered to present the letter to Jill. Jill stated that she didn't believe him and that letters could be faked. Jill was informed by Victor that he was making a mistake. What did Victor expect her to do? Jill asked, even if she did believe him. Jill didn't think Kane would suddenly intervene and take down Chancellor Industries. Kane loved Jill, Nikki observed. According to Victor, they must obtain Kane's program. Victor wanted Kane to give Jill the software so she could turn it around and deliver it to Victor. Jill guessed. Jill inquired as to whether she was supposed to obtain the AI program and provide it to Victor. It would give Victor a lot of power, she said. Jill required the letter from Madame de Leon as proof. Victor declared that he will retain the original letter. She departed after asking Jill if she might receive the proof by email. Victor was asked by Nikki what he believed Jill would do. Jill would go see Jack, he guessed. Nikki questioned Victor about his answer. Victor was asked by Nikki if he would kill the AI program. Victor stated that it would suffice as long as Kane believed it was destroyed. If Victor would use it against Jabot, Nikki inquired. When Nikki suggested that Victor merely feigned an alliance with Jack, Victor laughed. Jack entered Kane's train. I was expecting Jack, Kane remarked. Kane's casual clothes was ridiculed by the Abbott executive. Given that Jack most likely didn't believe he had a conscience, Kane found it intriguing that he brought it up. Kane made that simple, according to Jack. Kane believed that Jack would be relieved that he and Billy were no longer doing business together. Kane was asked by Jack if he enjoyed mind games. What could any of us have done to merit such a performance? Jack inquired. Jack related how Kane pretended to be Aristotle Dumas in front of his brother, along with his hanging Chancellor Industries. Jack referred to Kane's schemes as cruel. Billy's fixation on Catherine's company, according to Kane, wasn't healthy. Jack inquired as to Kane's sincere desire to discuss problematic obsessions. He brought up the fact that Kane's private life sounded chaotic. Kane claimed that he had no personal grudges toward Billy. They are too similar, he claimed. Jack was correct about the addiction to wanting more, and Kane agreed. He's wondering how much it cost. Kane stated that he was reevaluating his identity. Kane claimed that he knew Jack had spoken to Jill and was attempting to use her against him. "Oh," Jack said nonchalantly, "Jill and I go way back. We occasionally speak. Did I fail to mention what you're doing now? I believed that Aristotle Dumas was unreliable." Kane insisted he was being truthful. He desired to start over and do things correctly. "That was good," Jack said, "so why not remove the software? A neutral party should be able to destroy it, according to Kane." If he had someone in mind, he asked Jack. "Me," said Jack. Kane observed sardonically that Jack was selfless for doing so. He was serious, Jack said. According to Kane, Jack wasn't neutral in his eyes. According to Kane, skepticism is reciprocal. He may turn the program against Victor. "Are you truly concerned about that?" Jack inquired. Kane warned that Victor might use the program against Jack if he were to get it. He considered handing it to Billy and Phyllis, the wildcards. "It would be interesting to find out," Kane added. "Enjoyable?" Jack answered. "Kane, none of us are enjoying ourselves." Kane claimed that he had not received a rational response. He has no faith in anyone. Kane poured himself a drink and speculated that they would give Nick the software, but that he might not be reliable because he is Victor's #1 son. Additionally, he didn't think Adam would be a wise decision. Kane was accused of mind games by Jack. According to Kane, mayhem would ensue if the AI were given to anybody. Kane should trust Jill with the AI software, Jack advised. Jack was charged by Kane with calling Jill back to Genoa City. Jack observed, "No one calls for Jill Abbott. I believe you ought to be aware of that. This time, too, she makes her own decisions." Kane disclosed that he made an effort to reconcile Jill and Billy. He claimed that all he needed was for Chancellor Industries to make an effort to close the distance between mother and son. According to Jack, he believed Kane was pursuing Chancellor Industries in an attempt to win Lily back. Kane claimed that he would have put in 10 times as much effort if he had believed that would have worked. Jack questioned whether Kane was genuinely attempting to bring Billy and Jill back together. Kane claimed he was attempting to give Billy another opportunity. Although Jack acknowledged that it was conceivable, he was curious as to how Billy went from being deserving of a second opportunity to being homeless. Kane claimed that after Billy revealed his true nature, he severed his relationship. Billy was deserving of atonement, according to Jack. "Did you fail to turn away from Billy?" Kane made a point. Jack acknowledged that Billy may be annoying at times. Using Colin as an example, the Jabot CEO asked Kane if he didn't understand the need to protect the people they love from themselves. Colin had changed, Kane insisted. "You think so," Jack pondered. Kane suggested that Jack question Jill, who had just entered the room. Jack stated that he wished to speak with his ex-stepmother. Jill questioned whether Jack wanted to instill Kane-related thoughts in her, like Billy and Victor had. "Is it functioning?" Jack inquired. That was still up in the air, according to Jill. Daniel was questioned by Tessa if he believed Sharon would be all right. According to Daniel, Sharon is no longer as brittle. He said she may share anything with Mariah's mother. Tessa was dubbed a fighter by Daniel. Tessa wanted to forget that her guy might be putting Mariah in danger. Mariah was safe at a Boston clinic, Daniel thought. Tessa pondered whether Mariah's enigmatic partner desired retribution against her. Perhaps they ought to speak with him. Daniel advised them to just leave things alone because they weren't police officers. Tessa advised them to speak with him in any case to determine whether or not he is a gregarious person. According to Daniel, Tessa might be in danger if the mystery man discovers out she is related to Mariah. Tessa understood that Arya might be as well. "I get your point when you phrase it that way." "That was a stupid idea," Tessa admitted. Daniel suggested that the man could choose to forget about the entire Mariah event. According to Tessa, this was all really annoying. Daniel bemoaned the fact that they were unable to ask Chance for guidance that would remain confidential. Tessa asserted that Mariah is not a murder. She mentioned that Ian Ward is still haunting him from the afterlife. Tessa wondered what had broken Mariah. Tessa went over a number of scenarios regarding Mariah's relationship with her mysterious boyfriend. Tessa should remain grounded, Daniel advised. He insisted that everything would be all right and that Mariah would soon return from Boston. Tessa was adamant about seeing Mariah. "All right," Daniel replied. "And don't try to stop me," Tessa insisted. Daniel, who was taken aback, observed, "I just said, okay." Tessa apologized. According to Tessa, there must be visiting hours in the Boston facility. Mariah might not want to see her, Daniel pointed out. She may not be prepared to speak. Daniel expressed his desire to prevent Tessa from experiencing disappointment. Tessa declared that she would not accept Mariah's refusal to answer. Daniel inquired as to if she had been told that she was intense, similar to how she was during their guitar lessons. According to Daniel, that is Mariah's favorite thing about her. "I know I can be a bit much," Tessa remarked. According to Daniel, Tessa had the ideal balance of a lot of traits. "You're going to bring me to tears," Tessa informed Daniel. To check flights to Boston, she went. There was a red eye, according to Tessa, but she didn't want to get to Boston in a mess. Mariah might not want to speak with her, Daniel suggested. There was no conflict because Tessa claimed to love Mariah. Tessa expressed her gratitude to Daniel. He claimed to be long-term committed. It could have been worse, according to Daniel. Perhaps Mariah thought her life was in jeopardy? Tessa claimed that because of Heather, Daniel would be aware. He expressed his hope that Mariah and Tessa will have a happy ending. Tessa said to Daniel, "Leave it to you to say something sweet." She expressed her gratitude to Daniel. According to Tessa, the past few months have been quite difficult. Daniel expressed his happiness at being able to support Mariah. Daniel had been more than simply a friend, Tessa informed him. Then she gave him a hug, saying he was her best buddy. Kane at last displays a side that we would like to see. Thank you for joining the Young and the Restless Daily YPP for a brief, you're already halfway through, recap of the most incredible, or what the hell did we just watch, moments from today's premiere. Now, let's get started. The Young and the Restless events. The Young and the Restless Jack Abbott is portrayed by Peter Bergman. At last, we witnessed a side of Kane Ashby that we can accept more completely. Since his introduction last summer, Kane has consistently stated that all will be revealed soon. After several months, we believe we finally learned today what part of his actual master plan has been. On The Young and the Restless, he might not want to deploy AI software to take over companies like Cassidy First, Crimson Lights, Chancellor Industries, Jabot Cosmetics, and Newman Enterprises. If Kane employs artificial intelligence software, he can accomplish all of this and eventually have Victor and Jack report to him as he would be the owner of their businesses. However, will that win back the affection of his ex-wife Lily or their kids Charlie and Maddie? Most likely not. Why isn't Kane aware that he's no fool? As it happens, he might just do. One of his objectives, he said Jack, was to attempt to bring Billy Abbott and his estranged mother, Jill Foster Abbott, whom Kane views as a surrogate mother, back together. Kane has been shifting a lot of chess pieces, and as Soap Central recently hypothesized, his intentions might be a little more selfless than others have been recognizing. It's possible that Lily will see the man she once fell in love with if Kane brings Billy and Jill back together. Do you want further information? We've got you. The greatest comprehensive YNR recaps may be found online at Soap Central. You may even read all of them from more than 30 years ago. We also provide daily spoilers if you are unable to wait for the next episode. The Two Scoops is as close as we can get to being a watching party without really being a show. So whatever you do this weekend, please remember to read it for some chuckles. Hey, admit it, we're funny. The best thing is that we want to know if you agree or disagree. Leave a comment below as usual. It was one of those afternoons in Genoa City when a Chancellor letter opener could cut through the tension. Inside Kane Ashby's private train car, the air was heavy with secrets and unresolved matters. With his signature smirk, which combined skepticism, curiosity, and a tinge of moral superiority, Jack Abbott walked in. Like a hawk circling an open field, The Abbot patriarch had been waiting for the right opportunity to attack Cain. He was aware that Cain was concealing something, not just about the AI program that may completely change the commercial landscape, but also about his actual intentions and the reason he had been playing both sides of the corporate and emotional chessboard in Genoa City. What transpired between these two men was more than just a confrontation. It was a revelation that revealed Cain Ashby as both a victim and a villain, a tactician and a sentimentalist, revealing the layers of a character we believed we knew. Jack didn't make an effort to be nice. His voice was sharp and clipped. He was looking at Cain's casual clothes and half-empty drink when he said, "I was expecting more sophistication." With a silky yet sharp accent, Cain grinned. It was the first stab, the kind of line that could only exist between two men who knew each other too well. I wasn't expecting a sermon from a man who's rewritten morality more times than Newman's rewritten history. Both had fought their way through ambition, addiction, and betrayal, but Cain had pursued outcomes while Jack had sought atonement. But Cain appeared exhausted for the first time in a long time. His eyelids flickered, a tiredness that suggested regret, or at least the recollection of it. Jack persisted by bringing up Cain's previous lies, including his involvement with Billy, his manipulation of Chancellor Industries, and his Aristotle Dumas persona. Jack remarked, "You've been treating everyone like puppets." Victor, Jill, and Billy. What is the final outcome? What could any of us have done to merit such a performance? With a groan, Cain leaned back and looked away. "Do you believe that I desired any of this?" Quietly he inquired. Billy was being destroyed by his fascination with Catherine's companionship. "I simply deflected the flames." Jack paused for a second. Cain's tone was contemplative, even confessional, rather than defensive. The armor seemed to be breaking. Victor and Nikki were attempting to reveal Cain's empire for what they perceived it to be, a front based on deceit and greed, while outside of Cain's world, strengthening their hold on Jill Abbott. Ever obstinate, Jill fought like the stately grandmother she was in her office. She was unwilling to adopt Victor's perspective on Cain. Taking a drink of her tea, she added calmly, "I'm not blind to his imperfections." Her maternal loyalty was dismissed as naive sentiment by Victor, who scoffed. Jill was sentimental, but she wasn't naive. She had caught a glimpse of the boy Cain once was, the one who yearned for acceptance, a sense of community, and perhaps even love. Jill's position was only strengthened by Victor's proof, which was the letter from Madame de Leon detailing Colin's prior transgressions. "It is possible to fabricate letters," she retorted. Victor Newman giving a talk about greed? Nikki, who has always been the mediator, could only sigh as her words hit like bullets. Please, Jill was not going back down. Victor's charges, if anything, only made her feel more connected to Cain and, unwittingly, to Jack. The AI software at the core of this controversy, however, represented far more than just corporate dominance. It was the embodiment of power, the kind that might permanently tip the scales in Genoa City. Victor said that he wanted it destroyed. Jack desired its neutralization. But Cain had a different take on it. It was a test, a mirror reflecting the depravity all around him, and more than simply a weapon. "Do you wish to discuss control?" Cain paced the room and spoke to Jack. "Victor, Jill, Billy, and you all act as though you're defending your families and your traditions. However, the focus is always on the victor." Jack folded his arms, unimpressed. "Are you any different, too?" Cain hesitated, his jaw tensing. "I'm attempting to be." Now was the time. The admission. Cain acknowledged that his goal in establishing an empire was not to overthrow Chabot or Newman. He had no desire for riches or power. He disclosed that his objective had been extremely personal, to mend a family that had been broken by decades of disappointment and mistrust by reuniting Jill and Billy. In a quiet, earnest voice, Cain remarked, "Jill is the closest thing I've had to a mother. And Billy, despite his messiness, he is her son." Jack blinked in surprise. "I thought that if I could give them something to fight for together, maybe it would make up for all the damage I caused." It was an unexpected motivation that made it difficult to distinguish between manipulation and atonement. You believed that deceit and AI would help them recover? Jack questioned with astonishment. Kane nodded and said, "Poison doesn't heal wounds." "Perhaps not. You cauterize it, though." Kane was being truthful for the first time, and it was empowering. He also referred to Lily as a compass rather than a conquest. He admitted, "I thought maybe she would think I could fix myself if I showed her I could fix other people. However, I was mistaken. Redeeming codes is not possible." He made an honest admission, which was unusual for a man who had constructed walls so high that he was unable to look over them. "You have to earn it." Ever the cynic, Jack wanted to believe him, but he knew better after all. "Words are inexpensive," Jack remarked. "Do you wish to demonstrate your transformation? Give the program to me." Kane shook his head. "To you?" Jack didn't dispute it, and that quiet said it everything. "I don't mean to offend, but the moment Victor gave you a bad look, you would turn it into a weapon." Kane considered entrusting the AI to a neutral party. Jack made the suggestion, and Kane chuckled. "You? Indifferent?" It was one of those interactions that brimmed with tension and understanding. That's like saying Victor is humble. Yes, they were competitors, but they were also mirror images of one another, men who had suffered just as much as they had gained. And solution was put out by Kane, assigning the AI to an unpredictable individual who is not involved in power struggles. Nick? Too devoted to Victor. Adam? Too erratic. Phyllis? The highest bidder would purchase it from her. Billy? His patience was wearing thin as Jack pressed once more. God knows what he'd do with it. The suggestion struck a chord, then trust Jill. Kane's eyes flashed as he turned abruptly. Jack grinned and said, "So you called her back to town?" "Nobody calls for Jill Abbott. She takes action when she feels like it, and at the moment, she is seeking clarification." At that moment, Jill emerged calm, powerful, and exuding the unflappable grace of a lady who has constantly been undervalued. The room's entire energy changed as she walked in. Jack moved out of the way so that the two most important individuals could confront each other. Jill remarked sardonically, "I assume you two have been talking about me." Kane sighed, exhausted but determined. "Around us," he clarified. "And what comes next?" Jill gave him a wary look. "Tell me, Kane, are you the danger they keep warning me about? Or are you the savior they claim you're acting like?" After a pause, Kane remarked, "Perhaps both." It was the most truthful response he could provide, considering that Kane was by no means innocent. People had been harmed, tricked, and manipulated by him. However, he was making a sincere effort to change his tale. Although they weren't ideal, his intentions were human. He desired forgiveness, belonging, and connection. Torn between distrust and affection, Jill watched him. She remarked, "There are times when you remind me so much of Colin." "I'm afraid of that." Kane looked at her. "I'm also afraid of it." Another, more personal subplot was developing across town while this emotional tempest simmered in the higher levels of Genoa City's commercial elite. In order to counterbalance the high-stakes drama with realistic feeling, Tessa and Daniel had a touching, sad conversation. Daniel's quiet fortitude gave Tessa comfort as she struggled with uncertainty and Mariah's absence. There was a subtle rhythm to their scenes, fear wrapped in affection, anguish mixed with laughter. Tessa's commitment echoed Kane's when she decided to take a plane to Boston to visit Mariah. Both were searching for peace, not power. With a quivering voice, Tessa replied, "I just want her to be okay." Daniel gave a small smile. "You will be too." It was one of the infrequent occasions when Y&R dropped all the pretense and allowed vulnerability to take center stage. The altercation between Kane, Jack, and Jill reached its climactic emotional peak back on Kane's train. Ever the realist, Jack cautioned Jill against becoming gullible by love. "He's okay, Jill. Too good. He tells you what you want to hear." Jill's tone was cutting as she turned on Jack. And Jack, how about you? Like the rest of us, you have cheated, lied, and stolen. Recognizing that she was correct, Jack took the blow in silence. Don't act like you're Genoa City's moral compass. Cain saw them, mentor and skeptic, fighting like opposing forces for his soul. When he eventually said, "I'm not asking for forgiveness," the line that broke Jill was, "Just a chance to prove I'm not my father." Her voice cracked just a little, and her eyes softened. "Don't prove it to me, then," she responded. "Confirm it for yourself." Cain Ashby, who had previously been the endearing liar, the flawed romantic, and the plotter, finally entered anything approaching redemption in that moment. The AI was not destroyed by him, nor did he give it to anyone. He pledged instead to protect it, not as a weapon, but as a defense against those who would try to taint what was left of Genoa City's shattered integrity. "No one understands," he said. "Not Victor. Not Jack. Even I don't." Jack scowled. "So what?" King gave a small smile. "We can now see who is truly interested in peace." Following her departure from Cain's train, Jill was shown sitting by herself, thinking as the program came to a conclusion. A digital copy of Madame de Leon's letter, Victor's alleged proof, was in her hand. After gazing at it, she erased it. She had made up her mind, regardless of the truth. She said to herself, "Cain, I have faith in you." It was a perilous faith, one that had the power to either rescue or ruin them all. Victor poured himself a glass and grinned knowingly across town. He whispered, "He believes he is playing chess." Nikki was uncomfortable as she said, "But he's still moving on my board." "What if you're mistaken?" Softly she inquired. Victor's eyes were vibrant but frigid as he turned. "I'm always right." Tessa boarding her trip to Boston. Jack gazing out of Jabot's window with that haunted look that usually accompanies a poor choice, and Cain alone on his train with the AI software on his laptop flickering like an evil light are among the final moments that cut between these worlds. Half shadow, half light, his reflection gazed back at him. "Who are you now?" he whispered in his own voice. Like many great cliffhangers in Y&R, the answer stayed tantalizingly out of reach.